Well, welcome to the Addison Township Board meeting tonight. Tonight is April 21st, 2025 at 6 o'clock and located at the Addison Township offices at 1440 Rochester Road. Can we have roll call? Oh, no, we'll do pledge first, please. Okay, Ed, you're our veteran.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay standing, please.
Dear Lord, we stand before you this afternoon, one day after the holiest day, Easter, as we thank Jesus for his sacrifice for our sins. We gather together to ask for you to guide us as we make decisions in your honor. Now, please be with the Pope's family, and I hope everything goes well with the transition. In the Lord's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Yep. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Brakefield.
Yes.
Trustee Garrett.
Here.
Trustee Guyball. Here. Trustee Frost.
Here.
Treasurer McDonald.
Here.
Bennett present. Supervisor Pearson.
Here, and we're all accounted for. Okay. Well, let's go to department reports, as usual, always available in my office. Any petitions?
No.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
We did have something late come in, and it is time sensitive for Kingsbury Country Day School Fair. If we could add that to the agenda.
Would that be on the consent agenda?
No, because it didn't come in time, so we have to do a number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Kingsbury.
I'll second.
Didn't get any paperwork on that at all.
It was just one page.
Well,
I'll share my.
it's the same as every year then, right? Yeah. Okay, they want the one-day liquor license. Okay, and so that was to be added. That'd be item number 4. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. Any, did somebody have a motion already?
Yep.
And we had a second?
I had a second.
And no discussion? Roll call, please.
Karen Guyball. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Mary Frost. Yes. Mike McDonald.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda.
Yes, we have along with tonight, the approval of March 17th, 2025 minutes, the approval of the March 2025 invoices, approval of the $7.50 for Porta Johns for the Strawberry Festival, approval of the 2025 Oxford Addison Youth Assistance Sponsorship Funds of $5,500, approve Partners in Architect Agreement not to exceed $103,545.60 with up to $600 in reimbursable. Affirm and approve assessor assistant hourly rate of $47.21 for the fiscal budget year.
Okay.
If there's no comment, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Just typos. 1C, approval of the 750. Can we make sure there's a $sign in that? Instead of 750 Porta Johns. And then, what's the other one? Oh, that's all. Thank you.
So what was the actual,
The typo error that was on, I made the motion to approve the,
okay,
with that one change.
okay. Any other discussion? We have one motion, but we didn't have a second, did we?
I don't think so. I'll second.
Okay, Mary seconds. Any other further discussion? Not hearing, could we have roll call, please?
Karen Guyball. Yes. Mary Frost.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Mike McDonald.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, okay. Move on to item number 2. My recommendations for the appointments for the Planning Commission, that term is January 31st, until January 31st, 2028, is Derek Musgrove, who lives on Shoup Road. And then for the ZBA, Oliver Palmanaki, as an alternate too for the ZBA, and that would expire on March 30th, 2028. And the Board of Review as an alternate, first of all, to bring Tony Spina from the alternate position up to a full position, and to appoint Dino Scolas as an alternate, which that would expire on December 31st, 2026. If you'd like to know a little bit about each person, I can tell you about it, but these are my recommendations. Any questions?
Tony Spina was an alternate before,
Yes.
and so who's this Dino Scolas?
He lives up on Gravel Ridge on Lakeville Lake, and he's a semi-retired builder. And so he's very knowledgeable on houses, what the values are, things like that, but he would be the alternate. And that's for the Board of Review. I brought everybody in, and I had long conversations with them, and I wanted to know what their opinions were and different things like that. And Oliver, he is a building inspector in Orion Township, and he comes highly recommended, and I think he is extremely knowledgeable. And he would be, he grew up, first of all, on a cattle farm out in Colorado, out in the middle of nowhere. They moved to Oakland Township, and they lived there, but because it's building up so fast, they then moved up to Addison to be in a more rural atmosphere. So, and I like that very much. And then Derek Musgrove, he is a gentleman that lives on Shoup Road, and he's retired out of the Air Force. And his last place where he lived was North Dakota, and he lived in a rural atmosphere. And his wife was from Michigan here, but he was in charge of building and safety for the Air Force when they built anything, and he coordinated with the cities and villages wherever they were at. And so he was very knowledgeable, and he is a country boy at heart. If you remember, there a while ago, he came and he asked us if we could fix up Shoup Road, so we got the road commission over there, and they built up the road and they fixed it, and he helped us do that with the road commission. So he's very knowledgeable. I was very impressed, and I have their resumes. It's extremely lengthy, both of them. So anyways, and they're younger. Okay, so it fills, they're not old like us. Okay, so.
For yourself.
Speak for yourself, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
I'm looking for younger people, okay?
Bruce, I'll make that motion, and we accept your appointments for the Planning Commission, ZBA, and Board of Review.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have support. Any comments? Not hearing any. I think we can all just vote on those. Everyone in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay. Move on to item number 3, so I can find what I did with that. Item number 3, the interlocal agreement for Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission. The interlocal agreement for the Oxford Cable was, first of all, is a funding request also. That's going to be Part B, I guess. The interlocal was reviewed and approved by Bob Davis, our attorney. And all I need to know is, does the board have any questions on this? That's pretty much, we do this all the time.
I could just make a comment on it because I helped with this since I'm on the
Yes.
cable commission. This is the same agreement that we've had in place the last 10, I think it was a 10-year contract.
That's what it is here.
Yeah, and the only language that was added that is that if a township or community isn't up to date on their fees, they can have their board representation suspended until the fees are paid up to date. That was the only thing we added.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, there's only 4 communities, right?
Yeah.
Oxford, Leonard, the Village of Oxford, and us, right? Okay. Yes,
I don't question the intent of the change. However, I think it would be better listed under the representatives rather than it's just my opinion, but it just seems more in place with, and more pertinent to the representative section than the actual description of what the cable commission can and can't do. It just kind of is dovetailed in there, but I think it's a condition of responsibility that's better nitpicky, but I think it's,
You're talking about on 7?
yeah, those are the conditions for representatives. This condition pertains to representation.
If we amend, I think it has to go back to all the others who already
Well,
added.
I defer to our learned counsel.
I mean, the point was, there was a community in the past that was behind a lot, and they still had board representation there, which is good, but it was just, there was no leverage for the commission.
it wasn't us that was behind, was it?
It wasn't us,
No,
Okay.
no, it was the
Point the
Village of
finger at
Leonard.
somebody else,
And
okay.
if you look at the budgets, in '23, we only received 3 payments from the cable commissions. I mean, from the cable providers. In '24, we had 5. The one they missed came late. And so it pushed back in the village, and I was there, I was familiar with it. So we had to do our audit, was held up until we got that fixed.
Yeah.
And it took a while, and yeah, I thought it was inconvenient. I didn't realize it rose to the level that it has, and I'm a little disappointed about that, but I don't have a problem with the language.
So it was a paperwork issue.
Well, and it wasn't the village's fault.
Yeah, everybody's up to date as far as I know as of our last meeting with fees and stuff, so I don't really foresee it being an issue. It was just something that knowing that this is only renewed every 10 years, it was just something that the board wanted to address. We had a committee that met. It was the only suggestion. It was reviewed by the cable commission's attorney. Now it's reviewed by everybody else's attorneys. So that was it.
Mike, were you
Okay.
changing the words at all, or just the location?
Just the location.
Because I think it already went to the others, since the verbiage is okay.
I'm just,
I respect what you're saying,
Yeah.
maybe the next time they can stick it somewhere else, but,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I-
go ahead and make a motion, to approve the interlocal agreement for the Oxford Area Cable Commission Communications Commission and authorize the supervisor to sign.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any further discussion on this? I'm not hearing any. Could we have roll call on that, please?
Everett
Yes?
Mayor Frost,
Yes.
Linda Good,
Yes.
Ken Giles, Mike McDonald,
yes.
Bennett, yes, Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, okay, that passes. Now, the part B of this is funding requests for OCTV. We have a letter from OCTV manager requesting all the cable funds for a period of time, apparently due to loss of revenue. Currently, I believe it's 3.5 to cable, 3.5 to the township, included is the 2% mandatory PEG fees to the cable, and I think that's in court or whatever. Terry Stiles is here, and I think she'd like to explain briefly to the board why they need the money.
Yes, so people are changing from cable, AT&T, Comcast, and Charter. I always want to say Charter Spectrum. they're changing from traditional cable to streaming, which cuts our revenue because streamers are not being charged the franchise fees, which are your rights of way fees. There was a bill that ran through the House last year and it stalled in the Senate to identify streamers as not a video delivery service. If that went through, then Comcast, Charter, and AT&T would have said, okay, if they don't have to pay for rights of ways, they're using the same telecommunication lines, then we won't have to. If that would have happened, we'd be out of business in 2 years. If it goes through, so now that it's stalled in the Senate, now they're rewriting language to a bill that's already been approved to identify streamers as a video delivery service and to possibly charge, I think 50 cents is what they're talking about. I don't know what it would come out to. But it could take up to 2 years for that to be passed. If it doesn't pass, we're still done. If it passes, then we'll be able to stay alive with or without the half franchise fees, half cable fees. In short, if you have any other questions, I could go on that.
So it's a temporary request for full franchise
Temporary,
fees.
correct. Between 1 to 2 years. And so I'd also like to say, we cover about 300 events a year. We have 3 programs right now that are Addison Township featured. One is called The View from the Top. We feature all the leaders in the community. We also feature Oxford leaders as well. Another one is called Senior Moments, where we have Marie May, and then the Parks and Recs event organizer for Oxford, and they do a program on a bi-monthly basis. And then the third one is called Your Backyard, and that's strictly Addison Township. And then we also include all your meetings, all the coverage for the schools, which is all your residents' kids. So we're pretty busy, and we hate to give that up. If we lose our franchising fees, you won't even have your meetings covered, unfortunately.
What would the dollar amount be, or an estimated dollar amount be?
For if we get
If we chose to give
Oh,
you the full
20,000.
amount, it would be an additional
Last
20,000?
year, Addison Township brought in 40 from the providers, and that was split in half, so we got 20.
So it'll be additional 20?
40.
Okay, thank you. About, thereabouts.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Probably less because people are dropping off cable.
True.
We lost 40,000 last year from that altogether. And across the board, I was at a meeting last week of all public access station managers, and across the board, 20% every year.
On the other hand, the township would lose 20,000.
How many meetings or how many things do you record for Addison?
Every year it's different. Dollar-wise, I figured, including what we do for the schools, which are also representative of Addison Township, dollar-wise, last year we put out about 60,000.
How many meetings or events?
Gosh, I'd say about 42 meetings and events and people that we cover. We also do a program called My Life, so we come out and cover individuals. There's many authors in this community. We cover theirs, or we promote their events. We promote events for the fire department. They asked us to do a demonstration video for them. We also promote Leonard for hometown. It's different every year.
So about 40 a year?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Terry, I know the answer, but can you just, for the board's education, do all the other communities that are paying into the OCTV, do they pay full franchise fees?
The Township of Oxford does. Leonard pays PEG fees. And the Village of Oxford just increased from 50% to 75%. And last week I asked them to do the full franchise fees for a year to 2 years. They are discussing that in their budget workshop meeting, and I will know at their next meeting. And all 3, by the way, have signed their interlocal, so all 4 have now. Thank you.
Is it 40 meetings plus when you come and record here locally, or is that included in your 40?
No, they have about 24 meetings, maybe more.
On top of the
Other
40?
events and stuff that goes on out here, between the 3 programs that we do a year, and then the people that we cover individually.
So it costs like $1,000 an event?
It's about 500, so if we have a crew of 3, say concerts, and I'm talking concerts, plays, sporting events, it's a good 500 to 600-700, because it's not only I'm paying mileage, I'm paying each individual, then they have to process that, which is editing time, and then I have to pay somebody to get it on the air. So it runs anywhere between 500 and 1,000, depending on the event. Like a parade, it's probably our most costly event.
Okay.
So just so it's clear, OCTV services, beyond covering meetings here, does a lot with like the school system. Would you say it's the majority is done with the school system as far as covering sports and graduations and things like that?
Individual students and their accomplishments and their whatever clubs that they've got going on, like the Lego Club, etc. We do a lot with the school.
And now
Like
the OCTV is starting to get involved with the education part of
Yes.
Oxford High School as far as training, the video training for the students, and they're creating a partnership with the students in the school.
Yes, and then next year, we're in the fall, we're hoping to start a program that the children or the students will be our camera people, which will save us money, number 1. But number 2, they will be earning credits for their class, and that will also include them as an intern.
So I only am saying this out loud because I had a hard time understanding how OCTV benefits Addison Township as opposed to Oxford. But when you think about the kids in Addison Township that attend Oxford schools, that's a large part of it,
Right.
beyond coming to the meetings and covering
Right.
these things, so.
We do every single concert that any one of the schools have, including out here. From, kindergarten or first grade, I think is their first. Plus we do tours for all the schools, whenever they want to bring their kids in. We do quite a bit. We're pretty busy all the time.
Does
So I'm
this-
gonna go back and go.
Does the school contribute anything?
No, it's the parents that contribute the franchise fees.
There's
We
some,
do it for the students.
in the past, we've only contributed half of these fees. What do we do with our half that we keep?
It goes into the general fund, if I may. It goes into the general fund budget, annually when we create our budget.
I mean, this is nothing new. You guys, the cable commission comes every couple of years asking for all the money, always. So what would you have done if we had given you all the money before? What have you done as far as,
Probably would have a larger general fund. Right now, we've got about 100,000 in our general fund that I borrowed from to balance our budget from last year. because we also-
what has a cable, I mean, if the revenues are going down, if my revenues are going down, then I make, decisions to cut back on either the salaries or the staff or the events. What is the cable company
That's what I
doing
would
now?
have to do.
What have you done
Yeah,
in the
Cut
past?
down on staff and cut down on programming.
Well, and
Cover
didn't
just
take-
meetings, basically.
I think what Bruce is asking is, Terry didn't take a salary increase this year, and the raises for the employees were very low. So she's already, I think that's what you're asking, right, Bruce? I don't want to speak for Terry, but I don't want to short you either, because I think it's pretty amazing that you said, I'm not going to take a raise, because I'd rather have the money in there.
Well,
I'll
that,
just say for the record that Terry does a really good job with the budget. She makes cuts, doesn't have any wasteful spending, and she's very above board with the board, and I'll just leave it at that. Because I kind of have a close connection to the board here with my knowledge, so I want to.
I just would like to bring up the budget. So we just recently passed a budget, and part of it, and it's in your consent agenda, We have unallocated funds in community development of $18,259. So it's almost right from this account pays for what we might be expending to OCTV. I do really like OCTV mainly because of your involvement with the youth. The youth does need a lot of care, and I like how you record all of their events. You're there all the time. With that, I'm going to make a motion to approve the township cable revenue to be issued in full to OCTV for a period not to exceed 24 months, with the township reserving the right to revisit this motion and the allocation. Furthermore, the township reserves the right to also revisit the allocation amount if the litigation is resolved earlier.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and we have support. Does anybody have any comments?
Well, you talked, when you're talking about the money for later, are you talking about because when in Lansing, they will figure it out? Is that the money?
No, they're in court right now.
Okay.
If they lose their court case, this will not
This will not
be-
happen.
It will not be
Correct,
reserved.
they won't.
Right.
But if they win their court case, the motion is to say, we want you back here, and we're probably going to be doing a different allocation. It might go back to the 50-50. So the motion is very clear during your troubled times, up to 2 years.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, okay.
We're gonna help you, but after that, it's coming back, and if the litigation ends, let's say the litigation ends in 8 months from now, it's gonna come back to the board,
Okay,
because then they don't need this additional money.
right.
But what if it fails? What if they don't get a new bill before the House? What if the litigation either isn't resolved or it fails?
The motion,
It covers
the
it.
motion would still come back to us, and then we would
We'd
say,
have to do
we're not helping anymore, or we would say, oh.
As long as those are conditions for reopening, I'm
They're
okay
very
with
clear in
that.
here, up to 24 months. And then we have reserved the right to revisit this motion and the allocation, that's at any time. And then if the judgment if it's done quicker, we're gonna come back at it quicker.
I just have one thing to say, that when you giveth, you're not gonna taketh away, okay? So just understand that, because the commission has been here many, many times asking for the full amount. And if we give, and I'm just saying, I'll be the advocate, but once you giveth, I don't think they're ever gonna come back and say, we don't want it anymore.
I couldn't make, if we're gonna go down that road, I could not make that motion to fund them forever. I couldn't do it, so I don't know how everybody else feels, because then we're funding them forever. This is just because they are established, give them a chance to survive. If they don't survive, that's it. Or that's my opinion, you already know my vote.
I do understand.
No, if you don't survive this, I'm a no.
I understand. I understand that. This is Ed Hunwick, he's our chair, by the way.
Good evening. I just wanted to comment. I've been on the board for a number of years now, and I've been the chair for probably the last, 5, 6 years. And Terry and her crew, our staff, they do an incredible job of managing the budget and controlling their expenditures and such. And, I've talked to, I live in Oxford, so I have had conversations with the leadership in Oxford in the past in regards to what the perception the communities have towards the TV station. Do they find it relevant? Do they find it necessary to keep? And, tonight you supported the interlocal, so I'm guessing you support the fact that the TV station does exist. And I think what Terry's trying to do is do whatever it takes to keep the TV station viable and keep it operating until whatever bills are passed through the Michigan legislature in the next 12 to 18 to 24 months. And if it doesn't go our way, then this is all mute anyway, because the station's gonna go away. The funding won't be sufficient. The Township of Oxford supports us with full funding. And if we didn't have that, I don't know how the station could survive as it is anyway. Oxford has been willing to provide full funding all the years I've been on the board. And the TV station, again, what do the residents of the communities, how do they feel about it? Before I got on the board, I didn't have too much input or too much relationship with the TV station. I had cable, but now I have a granddaughter in school, she can get involved in all this stuff. Now I'm watching her on TV, so when somebody asks what benefits does the school provide, they provide the kids, that's what they provide. And the TV station does a lot of work with the schools and various sporting events and the various activities and
Okay,
so forth.
we did hear that already.
Right, and they do a lot of that. And
I understand.
If you're a grandparent and your
I-
kid's in school, you wanna watch them, or you're a parent, you wanna watch
Okay,
them.
okay. We heard that we were just,
Point of order, can we
Yeah.
call the question?
Well, it's
Okay.
board discussion right now.
pardon?
Board discussion right now.
Right, but, yeah, I mean,
I'm not trying to just.
I understand, but we're
Carry on here. I'm just
regurgitating exactly what
it's
we've
just,
already heard.
They do work hard.
We agree, okay.
And
So, does anybody on the board have any questions?
And this is to Mike, I guess, or both of you. Do we have allocation in our budget that we've just put together to cover the cost of 100%?
I just noted that we have 18,000 extra in community development, so that's where it would come from.
Is that money we were
No,
gonna
it would-
use for a playground?
That's already in the budget.
No, I think
So
we'll
the
have
playground-
income. We will receive franchise fees from 3 entities. We'll receive PEG fees from only one. So if we say that we're going to allocate our franchise fees, which will probably be lower than they currently are, that's where the money will come from. Where we spend it, we might have to use the other money that's in community development to backfill if needed.
Right, because we're already given them 20, so that's 20,000 we have to make up.
We don't have a home for the community development now. It's been there, but not,
Unallocated funds in community development, 18,259.
just.
It's cushion money basically for
When
that
something comes
category.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Yes,
I'll stand by my motion to call the question. All right, it's not a
Okay.
motion, my point of order.
okay, roll call.
Ed Brightfield,
Yes.
Mary Frost,
Yes?
Karen Gabel. Yes. Linda Garrick,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
I'll say yes. My comment is, don't come back to us though, right after this and ask for the same thing.
I have not asked
Because-
before, and I've been the manager for 5 years, I will.
It sounds like in 2 years she'll be coming back anyway.
I know.
Or sooner.
Or sooner.
Okay, item number 4, I guess, is, item number 4 is for Kingsbury. I guess they want to have their 66th annual Kingsbury Country Fair on Sunday, June 8th, 2025, from noon to 5. It'll take place on their campus, and they have a one-day liquor license, and that comes from the Liquor Control Commission. So we've always allowed them to have their fair. I don't think this is any different. Do they?
We're missing the liability insurance.
Right,
Yes, I agree, we always do it, but it would have to be contingent upon receiving the liability insurance, and I think at some of these contingent things, we should put a time frame, because sometimes it gets really close to a deadline and I'm getting really nervous. So it would be nice to, when we start doing the contingent, to put a time frame on, it's not just for them, a time frame on the contingent.
Would May
7 days.
31st?
Let's say within 10 days, they have their liability insurance to us.
She is working
10
on
days
it.
of the event?
No,
No,
10 days from
the
now.
date of
Okay,
approval.
okay.
And she is working on it, but
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Kingsbury Country County Fair, pending the certificate of liability being provided within 10 days.
I'll
The date
second.
that's provided, and I gave you a sheet that has the date.
Yeah, I got yours.
as additional, we're going to be additional insured.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the township has additional insurance.
Thank you.
I'll
The
second.
date is June 8th.
Okay, do we have a second?
And
Ed seconded. Any further comments? Not hearing any, could we have a roll call, please?
Mary Frost.
Yes.
Karen Gottle. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Mike McDonald.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and that passes. Okay, the last thing we got, public forum. Anybody in the public would like to speak? Anybody in the public? Not hearing anyone. We'll move on to Addison board reports. Anybody on a board have something to report? Boy, you guys are quiet. What's
I can
Everybody
let
got-
you know that,
dinner on the stove or something, or,
No.
oh,
Linda has something. Linda has something.
oh, Linda
I
has
just want to
something.
let you know, the planning commission did hold public hearings on April 8th for 4 ordinance amendments, or changes, I should say.
Okay. Anybody else?
They canceled SISMA, so there's been nothing further on that. And
Okay,
they also canceled the materials management meeting, so I'm waiting to hear a new date. I think there is a new date, but I can't recall what it is. It's coming up.
okay, how about, any communications? Legal, nothing? Supervisors report, all I got to add is, we do have spring cleanup, and it is May 10th, which is a Saturday before Mother's Day. I've notified the deputies, are making a list, they're going around and trying to find all the couches and everything that are on the side of the road so that I can go with some of the volunteers and we'll go pick up all the junk. And I'll ask the citizens if they'll also call in to Jamie, the deputy supervisor, so she can keep a list going. And if you see anything, please let us know, because I go around and Mike McDonald helps me. We go around with our trailer and we pick up all the junk, okay, ahead of time. So we've been really good at it, apparently, because the last several years,
Knock on wood.
I'm not finding any more mattresses or couches or car parts or whatever. Generally, the township, it must have made a difference, because, you know, when you find one couch, a day later you found 3 more. You know, now we just don't let them find those couches. So anyways, if anybody can make a list. Other than that, that's all I have. I will say that, you know, we've had a few rainstorms and this and that, and we've been doing pretty good on the electricity, which is great. And we don't have the flooding problems that everybody else has, because I was just at the supervisors meeting, which included all of Macomb County and Oakland County. And of course, they're downstream from us, so they have the flooding problem. So we're on high ground, so we're good shape. So that's all I have to add. So I'd be looking for a motion for
I'll
adjournment.
make that motion to adjourn.
And we have support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're adjourned. Our next meeting, May 19th, 6 o'clock.